And brought to you by FPAC. FPAC blows your pain away. Now, in a study by the Food and Agriculture Organization, over 60% of antibiotics are overused by poultry farmers in the country. The National Coordinator of Antibiotics Resistance Project at FAO, Dr. Kofi Afache, explained the situation could lead to the consumption of resistant germs from eggs and chickens.
Antibiotic resistance is the ability of a germ to resist the effects of medications that could previously successfully treat diseases caused by the germ. Experts say overprescribing of antibiotics, overuse of antibiotics in livestock and fish farming, and poor hygiene are the most common causes of antibiotic resistance. In Ghana, studies have found antibiotics residues in chicken, pork, beef, and eggs. In the agriculture sector, most poultry farmers give day-old chicks antibiotics to prevent them from falling sick for rapid growth and maintain their healthy birds. Mostly, the farmers introduce the antibiotics into the feed and water of the birds. Some also do not practice good hygiene on their farms. The National Coordinator of Antibiotics Resistance Project at the FAO, Dr. Kofi Afache, explains how the abuse of antibiotics by poultry farmers can result in antibiotic resistance in humans.
So what happens is that the germs in the chicks or in the birds develop resistance to these drugs that are being used in them. And the drugs that are used in for animal health is the same drugs that are used for human health. So when the germs in the animals develop their resistance, and we, the human beings, we come into contact with the animals, and the germs are transferred to us, or we take the meat of the birds as food, and the germs are transferred to us, it means we have also got the resistant germs in our body. So whenever we are sick and we use drugs that were used on these farms, they will not work.
Dr. Afache further explained that giving antibiotics to day-old chicks when they are not sick is wrong.
The drugs are not to be used for animals that are not sick. But these poultry farmers use the drugs on healthy animals that are not sick, to prevent the animals getting diseases. But this shouldn't be the case. These poultry farmers use drugs on day-old chicks, chicks that are hatched today, these small chicks that are not sick, and even their system is not developed well to receive the drugs. But farmers still use drugs on these day-old chicks.
Experts say antibiotics are generally safe to use when they are taken on prescription and used responsibly.
Service says about 40% of antibiotics prescribed by doctors for patients' overuse is sometimes not needed, leading to the abuse of patients. The Deputy Director General of the GHS, Dr. Anthony Ofosu, said the situation must be reversed to prevent antibiotic resistance.
World Antibiotic Awareness Week is to increase global awareness of antibiotic resistance and to encourage best practices among the public, health workers and policy makers to avoid the further emergence and spread of antibiotic resistance. Antibiotics have served as essential modern medicine. However, the persistent overuse and misuse of antibiotics in human and animal health has encouraged the emergence and spread of antibiotic resistance, which occurs when microbes such as bacteria become resistant to the drugs used to treat them. The Deputy Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Anthony Ofosu, at a ceremony to launch World Antibiotic Awareness Week, said some doctors prescribe antibiotics even when it is not needed, hence its abuse.
On the average, more than 40% of prescriptions written by healthcare providers within the Ghana Health facilities from surveys that have been done have been found to include antibiotics. Most often, there is no indication to give antibiotics on account of the diagnosis that was made by the caregiver.
The Minister for Health, Mr. Kweku Agyemang-Manu, called on stakeholders to speed up work on implementing the National Action Plan to fight antibiotic resistance in the country.
I urge all stakeholders, including the 4 sister ministries driving this process, to put in a bit more effort than is currently being done so we can win the battle against these microbes threatening the very existence of humans.
The World Health Organization representative, Dr. Nima Kimambo, commended Ghana for developing policies to promote the appropriate use of antibiotics among humans, livestock, and agriculture. The global theme for this year's World Antibiotic Awareness Week is Handle Antibiotics with Care, emphasizing the need to use antibiotics safely and responsibly. In Ghana, the sub-theme is The Future of Antibiotics Depends on All of Us.